11. In today's rapidly evolving digital world, many people may find themselves at risk. So in response, Fulton County launched an online training program to help seniors recognize and avoid those scams. Atlanta News First anchor Joe Gorcho joining us here in the studio tonight. And Joe, the numbers suggest seniors are the most vulnerable group. And Tracy, the numbers are incredibly staggering here. The FBI revealed that seniors suffered the most financial losses last year, roughly $5 billion. It's why the Fulton County acted to create the program ACT to avoid these cyber threats. And it's called Avoid Cyber Threats. It's free and helps seniors detect digital scams.
They actually took $2,000 out of my bank account.
Fulton County resident Cheryl Maxwell shares a story about an urgent email she received regarding a potential fraudulent purchase that led to a phone call to an unknown number, and then thousands of dollars disappeared. She says her bank helped her recover the lost funds.
But I have met other people who were not as fortunate.
And the numbers are staggering. The FBI recently revealed that suspected internet crime losses exceeded $16 billion in 2024. In fact, seniors lost nearly $5 billion that year, and Georgians ranked 7th nationally for financial losses to internet crimes.
How do you stay safe and how do you avoid scams and
Andre
cyber
Gregory
threats?
is the program manager for the Fulton County Senior Services Department. He's raising awareness of the county's newly launched free online cybersecurity training program for seniors.
We have noticed that though we're doing a really good job in introducing them to new things and new technology, we also could be introducing them to some kind of harm if we don't give them the tools they need to stay safe.
It's precisely the mission of Avoid Cyber Threats, the free Fulton County program launched in August, which you can take online. It helps seniors like Maxwell learn how to detect AI voice cloning, government impersonation, and even phishing scams designed to trick people into revealing sensitive information, such as bank account details.
One of the things I liked about the training was it gave me examples of things that I probably wouldn't have thought was a scam because it looked so legitimate, and how to recognize, even by the way the letters are formed or the style, to be able to pick it up.
Now, the county hopes to train 2,000 seniors and caregivers by the end of the year to help older residents keep their money safe and, of course, have that peace of mind. Again, the training program is called ACT. It is free and you can take it online. We have a link to it on our website. Tracy?
Joe, thank you.